Hey, how's it going, everybody? Just the tip here. Hope you guys are doing well. Going live for the first time here on YouTube. Um, I got a handful of things I want to talk to you guys about on the live today, and then maybe we'll do like some Q&A or hot takes at the end if anybody's got any. Just that way we have a nice, fun way to end the stream tonight. First thing I want to say is thank you guys, all of you guys, for all the support that I've had here on the channel. I've said it here a few times in the comments. But I started the channel in January, had a lot of extra time on my hands. The Chargers had an ugly playoff loss to the Texans. I just wanted to get started on the draft already. Um, I love the NFL draft. I watch it every year. The whole thing. I stay up all night, watch it. Just giddy. I love the NFL draft. And yeah, with the Chargers loss, just wanted to get an extra start. I had started watching some videos. Someone was talking about Savion Williams, and I was like, all right, they said he was like 6'5". Uh, yeah, the draft is like Christmas morning. Yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, they were talking about Savion Williams, and um, yeah, I mean, guy that was like 6'5", young, coming out of TCU, um, you know, uh, playing wide receiver and running back, and I was like, all right, I got to watch this guy. I think it was Trevor Sycamore that had him as I think like wide receiver 6 early on in the process. I mean, he's quite a bit lower for Trevor now and for me. But yeah, I mean, just I love the draft. And yeah, the last few years I've thought about making draft content. I went to go watch Savion, and I was like, well, let me put together a video on Savion real quick. That way I can come back and watch it too. And yeah, that was the first video there with Savion. I think I posted Tets first because I was like, well, if I'm doing wide receivers, I don't want to start with someone that's just kind of a little ways down the board. I want to see who the best one is, and then went and did Tets. And yeah, going back and looking at that now, I'm like, man, that video is so so low quality. I hope everything's a lot better now than it was then. I think it is. But yeah, definitely just still growing and everything. Um, yeah, you guys hit up the chat. Uh, oh, Raiders and Buckeyes. All right, yeah. So we're like polar opposites. I'm Chargers and Texas. I was raised a Texas fan. I live in Tuscaloosa now, so I'm kind of Bama fan by proxy. This is really my first year really getting into college football outside of the NFL draft. But yeah, so me and you, Jake, we're kind of opposite right there. Devin, I'll get to that a little bit later. I'll talk about who I want the Chargers rocking with. Um, but yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, definitely just want to start off the video saying, the channel is already way bigger and growing way faster than I thought it would. I'm glad you guys like the content. Super thankful for all the support I've gotten here. Definitely plan on doing this for a long time. And yeah, so a little programming update up next. So tonight, you guys might have just seen Donovan Ezraku's video just went live. And then tonight, I'm planning on getting Jalen Walker and Michael Williams, getting both of their videos up. And then I've already went through and watched and charted 3 games for Tennessee's James Pierce Jr. And then Texas A&M's Nick Scorton and Shamar Stewart. Um, so I've already done kind of the long part with that, with going and watching the games and writing down the plays. Now I just got to go make those videos. So hopefully it'll be quick. I definitely want to try to get some defensive tackles up, like maybe Graham and Grant, or Graham and Nolan or something tomorrow before the draft. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make that happen, but we'll see. But I'll definitely keep making videos after the draft. I'll definitely round out the tackles. Definitely want to focus on like maybe one that we don't think that we thought maybe they wouldn't, like kind of round one. After the draft is totally over, we'll see what interesting team picks and fits there are. I'll get those videos done. Anybody that's getting like a lot of love or a lot of hate based on where they were drafted and like what spot in the draft, I'll cover those guys. Um, yeah, and then we'll just kind of take it from there. But I'll keep putting out videos for this draft class as long as you guys are watching, and then we'll kind of figure something out from the fall and moving forward there. Um, but yeah, I want to go ahead and get into some rankings. Before that, let me check the chat here. Um, yeah, Roll Tide. Yeah, gotta love it. I mean, that was my biggest thing. And I'm from New Mexico, and I moved here from New Mexico, and so no really especially good, like bad college teams. New Mexico State's been doing better lately, but Uh, not a huge football state, even though you're right there next to Texas. Hasn't poured over New Mexico yet. So when my buddy said that, he was coming down here, I was like, well, shoot, like I'll just go ahead and drive out there with you and move out there. Like I'm going to be in football country. I'm looking for a change of scenery. And yeah, so just kind of up and left to Tuscaloosa, and man, everybody here lives and breathes football. Everybody, it's awesome. So definitely around my people now. But let's see, doing great work. Appreciate the effort. Hey, I appreciate all you guys. Yeah, like I said, I didn't think that this was going to get here this quick or anything. Um, Membo at tackle, and then second round Henderson, third if available Kyle Williams. Yeah, Kyle Williams he's kind of climbing up the boards right now. It seems like I think that if that I definitely think that he'll go day two. At this point, I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot of talk around him. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get up into the second round. Um, yeah, Dynasty is a ton of fun. I'm nowhere as good Dynasty as I am year to year. Kind of when I joined the league that I'm in now, with my former rugby teammates from college. I didn't really know what it was, and they were all laughing at me. I took Tom Brady like the year that Tom Brady was going to retire. Uh, yeah, so yeah, I love fantasy football though. Definitely. Yeah, I've got at least like 3 leagues that I do every year, and we've got trophies and all that kind of stuff. Love fantasy football. I just love football in general, man. I mean, like I really just can't get enough of it. I know I said I played rugby in college, and I loved that. And I mean, rugby, like I love football. I coached football the last 5 years, middle school and a little bit of high school. Love that. I love all the X's and O's. Love the draft. Like just everything about the game, the history of the game, all that kind of stuff. I love it. But yeah, he's definitely the most fun I've ever had playing a sport. But everything else, yeah, give me football. Um, yeah, hey, glad you guys are grateful for the videos. I'm glad you guys like it. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and hop into some rankings now. I'm gonna start off with wide receivers. That's what the channel started off with, and that's kind of I've watched the most guys for receivers, so I'm gonna talk about them first. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna do it kind of like five at a time. I'll go through and talk about each player here a little bit. But my personal wide receiver rankings, I watched 15 wide receivers, so those are the guys I'm going to talk about. I don't want to, really give my opinion on too many people that I haven't watched. But yeah, my number one receiver is Tet. I know some people kind of are interchangeable with him or Travis Hunter, but I mean Tet, like he's not necessarily like a prototypical X. Like he does things a little bit different. But I mean, he's got great hands. He's got insane body control, and just someone his size. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make an argument against him being the first wide receiver. It's not necessarily a weak wide receiver class, but it's definitely not like top heavy. Like there's not like a lot of guys um, that can go out there and be like a number one from day one. Like we don't have a Jamar Chase, Malik Neighbors, like those kind of guys. Last year's wide receiver draft was stacked, and like Garrett Wilson's year and that kind of stuff. Yeah, this is not that year, but I mean, if you need a wide receiver two, a wide receiver three, there are a bunch, and guys that I think that can come in and contribute kind of day one. But yeah, Ted's number one for me. I know some people are concerned about his separation. And yeah, I mean, I'd like to see him separate a little bit more too, but also like uh, he is able to make those big physical catches. He's able to use his body control and his size, and just being able to out jump guys, go get those contested catches. So I'm not too worried about his separation, but I do wish it was better. My second wide receiver is Travis Hunter. Dude just has insane ball skills. I mean that's for sure. He's got really good hands. When they asked him to run like actual routes, like a lot of his routes were just like nine slant, drag, that kind of stuff. And then also, Shador was back there for like 10 minutes at a time sometimes. Um, and so I mean, like it kind of got to where it was like backyard football, and it was just him and Shador. I'm sure like best friends, super close, whatever. And so that chemistry is really going to kick in there. Um, and so yeah, I mean like it's he's kind of a tough eval because they didn't have him run, like the full route tree like you'd like to see it run, or at least not super consistently. And then his QB play was very frustrating as well. And so playing against the competition that they were going against, like with those plays dragging on for so long and stuff, like there's not a corner in the world that is going to cover most wide receivers for 9-10 seconds, much less Travis Hunter. Really, the only concern I have about Travis Hunter playing wide receiver is his size. I mean, he has a very lean frame, and so I just worry about him. Like, how many big hits is he going to be able to take before that becomes an issue? And I'm not even talking about playing both ways. I'm just talking about one way. Like, if he was just a wide receiver, like, I'd still worry about him, taking big hits and stuff. But I mean, we've seen other guys do it, like the Devonta Smith and things. So I mean, it's not a huge concern for me, but he does have a very lean frame, and that's a concern for me. Um, yeah, the next wide receiver I have, this might be a little bit of a hot take. I've kind of switched this up a little bit. But after going back and watching, I have Jaden Higgins as my third wide receiver. And I should have said this a little bit earlier too. Kind of the way that I'm ranking wide receivers, and the way that I'm watching receivers. Like I said, I started this channel because I wanted to do a deep dive in the draft for the Chargers draft and kind of see who I wanted them to target. And then it just kind of blew up from there, and then changed a little bit from there. I'm not just doing Chargers. Um, but yeah, so I'm kind of looking at things through a little bit of like a Chargers lens. So keep that in mind as well. But Higgins, I mean, he is kind of more your prototypical X. And I mean, for his size and stuff, he separates very well. He's got really strong hands. No concerns with the hands at all. The only thing that I remember from watching him is when he was in contested catch situations, it seemed like the ball got knocked out too much for my liking. But at that point, we're kind of nitpicking. Like, again, like for a guy that is that size, getting that open, he's still able to make those contested catches. I like to see him make some more of them than he did. But for a guy that size to be getting that open all the time, like, yeah, I mean, it's impressive. But in terms of like, if you want a chance at a guy that could be a wide receiver one, like specifically looking at this class, and if that's kind of how you're ranking it, then Higgins is your guy. After Tet and Travis Hunter, in my opinion. Um, yeah, after that, my next wide receiver is Emeka Ibuka. Really clean evaluation. He runs routes. A lot of people say that he's slot only. I don't think that he's slot only. I mean, just given like the talent in that wide receiver room, it was hard for him to stand out. But it's hard to knock him too much for that. Like, that's out of his control. Same thing as like guys can't control who they play against. They can't control their schedule. Um, so yeah, I mean, like, Abuka's a clean, like, high floor prospect, which I think is important. Like, it would be surprising to me if he was someone that did get a second and a third contract. Um, yeah, I mean, he is like just a round one. I think that he'll be like a mid to high end wide receiver too. Kind of if he reaches his ceiling, but I think he's got a lower ceiling than some of these other guys. Um, I got Golden at wide receiver 5. um, Golden's got really good routes. He played with Ewers. I'm not a Ewers fan. I think that I mean, Ewers just like can't throw over the middle. Can't make a lot of throws. Doesn't do well with pressure. He's running all around the pocket and things. And Golden really had to step up there a few times between whether it was injuries or whatever. He There were definitely some games where he was the go-to guy. My concern with Golden is that I do wish that he was more productive throughout his college career, and especially there at Texas. But again, I mean, just like the way that offense was ran, and then again with Ewers and how many other guys that were in that wide receiver room as well. Um, it's hard to be the number one guy all the time in a room like that and in an offense like that. So I don't knock him too much for it. And I was surprised to see like how little he was being talked about, kind of. But I guess it was early on in the draft process. Unlike me and my Chargers, some other people still had some football to take care of at that point. But yeah, then we'll get to wide receiver 6. For me is Jack Besh. Like I said with Ibuka, like having just like a clean high floor prospect is something that you want, even if they're not like super exciting. Like, even if the ceiling is kind of limited, which I think it is with Besh. I mean, he is another guy that I would say that, like, I would be really surprised if he is not in the NFL for like 10 years. The dude just catches everything, which, as a Chargers fan, we've got Quentin Johnston out there, and then a bunch of nobodies after Lad McConkey. I mean, I've seen my fair share of drops between Johnston. Chark played like 10 snaps this year, so I'm not even gonna talk about him. But I mean, with Johnston and Jalen Rager, I mean, like just like some really tough wide receiver play to be watching. Um, yeah, so I mean, like I know a lot of Chargers fans, especially, are like, I don't want to take another receiver from TCU, whether it's Savion or Besh or whatever. Don't helmet scout. Like, you got to watch him for who he is, and Besh is a good one. Former tight end, he was at LSU, transferred to TCU. Really good, clean prospect. Obviously, with tight end background, he's a great blocker for the wide receiver position. He doesn't have like elite top end speed, but I mean, I went in looking at his size and his background and thought, okay, this guy's not going to score any kind of deep plays or big plays like that. He's not going to have any explosiveness to him, and he did, and that was really impressive. Like I think in the NFL, we won't see that kind of stuff, but he can stretch the field enough that you don't have to just like not worry about him. Yeah, I mean, Besh is a really clean eval for me. I really like him, and I mean, four guys that you feel strongly about. Like, even if this guy's not going to go and be, a top 10, top 15, top 20 wide receiver in the league, he's going to be really good. He's going to be someone consistent you can look at, and especially for like young quarterbacks and things, building their confidence and stuff. Like, you got to get them someone that is going to catch the ball when it's thrown their way. And a lot of teams don't have that right now. There's kind of a lack of wide receivers to go around because everybody resigns them. Um, so yeah, that's my top six. There is Tet, Hunter, Abuka, Golden, and Besh. Right after that is Burden. Luther Burden is a very interesting eval. I did not watch his 2023 tape. I didn't. So let me say that just straight up. I know a lot of people are way higher on Burden than I am, and that's fine. I see it. Like, I see the talent and I see the athleticism. That's not a question. He's probably the best yak guy in this draft class for the receivers. I'm not arguing that, but he's also probably like, in terms of what I saw on the field, like, not even like Mike Green has off the field stuff. I think James Pierce Jr. is the other guy that has off the field stuff, like a lot of concerns with those kinds of things. I get that that's a concern, but it's also kind of separate from football to an extent. Burden's attitude issues you can very clearly see on the field. I mean, there are a lot of the times where he just stops running routes or he just doesn't run routes in the first place if he doesn't think the ball is coming to him. He got some unsportsmanlike penalties and that kind of stuff, just like some really dumb penalties that'll really hurt your team. If he goes to like the wrong situation, I just don't think that he's going to last very long in the league. I hope that he does because he's got the talent. I'm not arguing his talent at all. If it was just on like a player basis, if it was just what he did on the field, like his ability to do stuff on the field, then I mean he'd probably be wide receiver three. But for me, like, I really don't like the penalties and that kind of stuff. I mean, like, he just seems like a walking attitude issue, and I think a lot of teams just aren't even going to have him on their board because of that. So I think that he'll slide some. I see him going in the second round. Um, Higgins, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes at the end of the first. Besh will be second or third round. Burden will be second round, I think. Um, and then same thing with our next guy. My next guy, my wide receiver eight, is Kyle Williams from Washington State. Big fan of Kyle Williams. It's tough again. You know, a lot of people bring up his schedule, but like, you can't really hold that against a guy. Like, he plays against who he's going to play against, and it just kind of is what it is. And I get the concern, but yeah, I mean, like, his start and stop speed was very impressive to me. Um, his yak ability, and I mean, he just had good hands too. I mean, and playing with a tough quarterback situation as well. In my opinion, but he seems to me like another one of those guys. He's not going to be a wide receiver one, but I think he could be a really good wide receiver two. He can stretch the field some, and ran some good routes, strong hands. Like, those are the things I'm looking for in a receiver. So he'll go day two for sure. If I had to guess, I'd say he depends on when runs on certain positions happen. Like, there's a run on interior defensive line early on, then that's gonna push some things back. If the running back run comes early, like, I would like, we'll get to running backs, but I mean, like, Scattaboo, like, I have a tough time saying where Scattaboo is gonna go because people have concerns about his explosiveness, even though I like him and things. Um, but I mean, Scattaboo, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the fourth round. I wouldn't be surprised if he went in the second round. Like, it really just, this draft is weird and just kind of all over the place. But anyways, Wide receiver 6 was Jack Besh. Wide receiver 7, Luther Burden. Wide receiver 8, Kyle Williams. My next guy, I've got Jalen Knoll from Iowa State. I really like Jalen Knoll's film. He did have some drops, but it wasn't like a consistent issue kind of thing. I would say he had a handful of drops, and especially for the amount of volume that he saw, like I think that's more kind of acceptable. Like, I wish that he caught everything like some other guys in this class did. Um, but he's an interesting eval because I mean, like looking at him when I was watching him, like his build almost looks like a running back build, and like the way that he runs kind of looks like a running back, which I thought that was interesting. But he played primarily in the slot, or at least had a lot of his production out of the slot, which is not a knock on him. Again, can't control where a lot of guys play and that kind of stuff. It's all scheme dependent, but he also did some work on the outside too, and so I like seeing that. If I had to guess, I would say like he was probably like 70% of his production came out of the slot though. But he definitely can play outside. I don't think that he's a slot only guy. In the NFL, I definitely think he'll be more of a slot guy, but I don't think it's like, oh, if you put him outside, like he's just going to get bullied by press and stuff. I don't really think that that's going to be the situation. Um, but yeah, strong hands is his routes were decent, and then yeah, stretching the field out of the slot too. A lot of guys that are in the slot are usually going to be at least like slower, or they're going to be really small. He's got decent speed. He stretched the middle of the field really well. So like especially a team that like doesn't have a tight end that can do that for them. That's not any kind of vertical threat. Then Noel might be someone that they're looking at. Um, my wide receiver 10, I saw someone brought it in here. Trey Harris, and Trey Harris is another guy that, in terms of his talent, it's there. I really like his talent. He's got great size. He's got great speed. The size speed combo is really enticing. Um, what worries about me, and I haven't like dug into his injuries. I don't know, exactly what he was facing, but I mean, even just from watching the film, there were 3 or 4 times in the game where he had to leave, and I think 2 or 3 of those times he didn't come back due to injuries. Like, so I mean that's just really concerning to me because like if I'm going to spend a high draft pick on a player, obviously I want them to play. And so the injuries is what concerns me with him. If medicals like come back clear and stuff, I have no issue taking him in like the early to mid second. I mean, he is a clearly very talented wide receiver and stuff. The injuries just really concern me, and availability is going to be something that plays a big part in that. Next after that, so my 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and that'll be the end of our wide receiver rankings because those are the only guys that I watched. And I know I'm going to butcher this guy's name, but Elik Ayumanor, I think Ayamanor. Not sure, but from Stanford. Oh, tough eval. First of all, I mean that offense and that quarterback. I think that was the first one where I was like, oh god, like get this guy a quarterback, please. Um, but yeah, I mean, but then also, the quarterback would throw it straight to him right in the hands or chest or whatever. I mean, the guy just had so many drops, like, and I mean, I'm a little bit, I might have like some PTSD from like I said, watching the Chargers and especially Quentin Johnson. And some games he had some really big games this year. Like he had like 13 catches or something like that against the Raiders in the last week of the season. Um, and then in some games it's like he just gets the yips and can't catch a thing. I mean, you kind of saw the same thing with Ironman. I mean, there were just like drops just season, I feel like. But I will say it's been a little while since I watched Ulick. He was one of the first, like I want to say like 5 videos that I made maybe. So it's been a little bit since I watched him, but those drops, like I just can't get those drops out of my head. Um, yeah, and I mean if you're gonna be a receiver, you need to be able to catch the ball. Like it's just non-negotiable. So I mean that's something that really is drops. Um, Next up, I got Savion. Savion in the right system, I mean, is just going to be a fun player for some team to have. I mean, to me, he screamed like I know this is obvious, and there's like 6 different players that like analysts are constantly saying, um, oh, this could be the next Debo Samuel. This guy could be the next Debo Samuel. And it's like a lot of those guys don't have that profile, but Savion does. I think he's an interesting one. Definitely had those PTSD Quentin Johnson flashbacks with the TCU helmet, the dreads. Him running out there in purple, and then also having some drops like that. Like just like he had some ugly drops for sure. But I would definitely say that he had less than less than I manner. And I mean his yak ability, um, I mean was great. Like some of the best in the class, I would say. And for someone that size, like that, this it's very interesting. Very interesting athletic profile. I think he's a little bit older, which I also don't like. I want to say he's like 23, or about to be 23. So definitely an older player. That's something that I don't like too much. Um, but I mean, it is what it is. And also for a team that's trying to add like some final pieces to get to the Super Bowl, um, your window is you're not planning for a window where this guy is going to be 30 years old, and you're hoping that's 9 years from now instead of six. Like if a guy's a little bit older, that doesn't matter if you're trying to make a Super Bowl run this year. Like this guy's even if he's 24 by the time the season starts, you got the guy. You got a good 6 8 years out of this guy. If he sticks with the league, but so it's kind of situation dependent. But Savion, I mean, just fun tape to watch. He was really good at running back. I wouldn't outright switch him to running back. I've seen some people say that, like kind of like Rashard Smith out of SMU. I would not do that. I think he's got the talent to play receiver and stuff, and definitely the size. Um, but yeah, he's an interesting eval. Just again, just a fun player. Like just get the ball in his hands, however you're going to do that, and he will make some stuff happen. So yeah, really big fan of Savion. I wish I wish I could put him higher, but yeah, with the drops were tough to watch. Next after that, wide receiver 13 for me was Jalen Royals from Utah State. Um, he was an interesting watch. I mean, I think like even looking at my list now, I wouldn't necessarily move him much higher. I think he's got like a semi-limited athletic profile. Like he didn't seem like someone that jumped off as being very fast. Not that he's slow, but like his speed didn't like jump off of the film for me. Also, like I don't know if another wide receiver in the draft ran more screens than he did. Um, he I mean, and again, that's not something really that he can control. Like that's kind of the scheme. Um, but still, like I just wish I saw more out of him. Now, it wouldn't surprise me um, if Royals was a very good, very productive receiver, like especially as a wide receiver two, maybe wide receiver three. Like I'd see him like maybe going to like the Bucks or something and be like a really solid, third option for them. But I mean, his ceiling seems limited. It's hard to say based off the offense that he was in. It's definitely hard to say. So I mean, like I think that he'll be a good wide receiver, but I don't really see the ceiling as being great. But also, I mean, it's tough to judge his ceiling based off of all that stuff that I just said. Um, Next up, my wide receiver 14. Oh, I wish this guy was more productive because the size speed combo is just insane. But Tennessee's Dante Thornton, he was an exciting player to watch. I really wish he was involved more. Tenny's offense is just weird. I mean, like now they've got that whole thing going. Nico, I'm not even gonna try to say his last name right now, but I mean, like their offense, like typically, like you think a guy like just like not a lot of guys translate to the NFL very well, whether it's quarterback, wide receiver, or whatever. And I don't think that necessarily has to like hurt a player's evaluation. Um, but I mean, it makes it tough. Like, dude had like 26 targets or catches on the year or something like that. Like, it's just really hard to go off of something like that. I maybe an injury or two at some point. But again, I mean, he was like 6'4". I can't remember what he ran, like 4.31 or something like that. I mean, just and he had a couple of drops too, and especially with his few targets that he got, like you really don't like seeing that many drops. I think he had maybe like three on like 26 targets. Um, but I mean, like that size speed combo, if someone makes that work, then I mean, yeah, I mean, like I pray that he does not go to the Chiefs. Like, just oh, that would just be so annoying to me. I pray actually that he goes to the Chargers. If they took him in like the fourth round, I would not be upset at it. Like, just let Herbert just get back there, just throw a missile and let Dante go get under it. And then we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I mean, like if he can figure it out, then I think that he'll be one and that will. Sorry, I think he'll be one that we look back on and not necessarily think that we go higher, but more so just kind of be because he doesn't have that much production, but more so just kind of be like, what was Tennessee thinking, not getting this guy the ball like way more often. Like just send him some shots. Um, yeah, I mean, really exciting player. Um, Wide receiver 15 for me is Tez Johnson from Oregon. Um, his film looked way better than I thought that it would when I saw his weight and his speed combo, or his size and speed combo. Like that, his tape looks way better. If I would have watched tape before the combine, I probably would be a little bit higher on him. I hate to have like players' measurables bother me that much because I'm not a huge like I'm not like set in stone the type of guy that's like this guy's arms are half an inch too short, like he can't play tackle. Like I'm not like that. I mean, there might be like some science and some trends behind that kind of stuff, but I mean, for writing stuff in stone like that, yeah, just not my style. But this though, I mean, like his like height, weight, speed, um, like where he falls kind of on that graph is just all the way at the bottom. I mean, like you cannot go out and ran. I think he ran like 4.51 or something like that. At his height and weight, his weight especially, like he just seems like a guy that is going to get killed in the NFL. And I hope that he doesn't. I hope that he's good. I'd love to see players like that succeed. But I mean, like if I had to bet if he was going to or not going to, then I would say he's not going to. Like that size profile is just it makes it really difficult to draft him with any kind of meaningful draft capital. So I mean, like he would be. I wouldn't be surprised if he went undrafted. I mean, like um, we've seen all kinds of players in recent years. Like I remember, um, I can't remember if they drafted him or if he went undrafted. But when the Chargers got KJ Hill, who's not necessarily the same like size speed thing, but like there's a lot of players that we'll see. Like you say, someone's going to go undrafted now, and it's like, what are you talking about? This guy's an idiot. But there are always huge surprises in the draft. Always, like some guys just fall 3 or 4 rounds later than you think that they're going to, and some guys go way higher than you think they should. Um, yeah, so I mean, this will be an interesting draft because it feels like one of those years where, or like the most since I've started watching the draft, where it's just like everybody's like, I really don't know what the hell teams are going to be doing this year. Like everything's just kind of all over the place. But I mean, that'll make it fun and interesting for sure. All right, let me get to some comments here real quick, and then we'll go on to running backs. Um, yeah, I appreciate the film. Glad you guys like it. Um, yeah, Ty Felton from Maryland. I do want to get his done. I mean the way that like before I started like really getting into film and stuff, I would I've been a PFF draft machine guy for years. And like the thing I would always do, the first thing I would do when draft season would come around is I would click for the wide receivers and I would scroll all the way to the bottom and I would go see, okay, who are the guys that had just like insane numbers. I don't remember what school he went to, but there's a guy this year, Joey Hobart. Um, I can't remember what school he went to, but he's got like some insane production over the last like 3 years. Nick Nash, had a crazy season this year. I really wish I could find some more tape on him. I found like a couple games online, and like the quality of the film is basically just like unusable. Like if I could have made a Nick Nash video, I would have made a Nick Nash video. Uh, believe that. Um, but yeah, interesting. Raiders getting Genty. I don't know, man. I don't know what I mean. Look, the like you guys know that meme where there's like a Lamborghini parked outside of the trailer. That would be kind of like GT on the Raiders. I mean, like the Raiders just need so many things right, and I'm not, just trying to hate on the Raiders because I'm a Chargers fan. I do hate the Raiders. Like I hate the Raiders. But seriously, like their roster is just not in good shape right now, and so it is tough to add a running back to a roster that is not anywhere near being complete. It's not a premium position. He is an amazing player. He is one of the best players in this draft, probably like top five at least, maybe top three. Um, yeah, I mean he's an amazing player, but to to draft a running back that high, I mean like how long is it going to be until the Raiders like are actually good and like especially the offensive line? How long until the offensive line is good? Like why back, or same thing with rookie quarterbacks too. Why put them behind a team that is going to struggle? I mean, quarterbacks you do it because quarterbacks are super hard to find, so you have to take one when you can. That's not the situation with running backs. So I don't know if they will take Genty. I definitely could see it. If I was the Raiders, I love Genty. I wouldn't take Genty if I was the Raiders. I'm a big proponent of building the trenches first, building the trenches and best player available. So I mean, that's what I would do if I was the Raiders. Um, let's see. Savion is big Cordero Patterson. Yep, I remember writing that down when I was watching his video. I was like, this guy reminds me of Cordy P for sure. Yeah, Besh is a stud, definitely. Draft has weird vibes, absolutely. Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, like I feel like truly this is a draft where like anything could happen. Like I wouldn't be surprised at this point. I think that the Titans are taking Cam Ward. Um, but I mean, like I always remember. I don't remember what year it was, but when Baker Mayfield went to the Browns, up until that moment, nobody knew that Baker Mayfield was going to the Browns. I mean, like there's always surprises. There's always teams trying to be deceptive and that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, I mean we'll see how it goes, but I think like if Ward um, is locked in as the pick at number one, then even looking at the Browns, like where do they go? Like they could use a quarterback. I wouldn't take Shador that high. I don't know if I'd take Shador in the first round, but that's only from watching Travis's tape. So I mean, I can't speak on Shador all that much. Um, but like the Browns in a world of hurt, and in my opinion, they deserve it because that Deshaun Watson trade. First of all, the trade package that they sent, and then giving him that contract, that as one thing, like way too many eggs in one basket for someone that hadn't played in like a year. And then you add all the allegations on top of that. Like you're trading for that player, giving all of those resources up. The Browns deserve all of the many years of failure that they have all over again now. Like they were finally on the right path, and then they go and do something like that. You get what you deserve, dude. I got Browns are probably going Carter or Travis, but who knows? I mean, they could take a quarterback. Um, yeah, so we'll see. It is just a weird one. Um, yeah, FBA, thanks. Hit the like button, share. I appreciate it. Yeah, you guys do what you can. Yeah, I appreciate it. Um, yeah, Bowers to the Raiders elevated offensive lot, double down with GT. That's fair. That's a fair argument. I probably would have also said last year, like if I was the Raiders, probably wouldn't take Bowers. Like do something that really helps and elevates the team. But yeah, I mean, Bowers did he did elevate their offense quite a bit. Like who else was on that offense? Jacoby Myers. I couldn't tell you who was the running back for the Raiders last year. And I I watch them pretty consistently. It's a division rival. But yeah, I mean that offense not good. I just worry about putting a running back behind an offensive line that struggled that much last year, and kind of seeing, I mean, like how much is he gonna be able to help you? Like I'm more of a proponent of going the Eagles route, and I mean, like okay, let's build the best offensive line in football, and then let's put a premium asset back there, and yeah, let's break all kind of rushing records, and I mean, have the statistically best running back in the league, the best running game in the league. I mean, like if you look at Saquon and the Eagles this last year, I mean, like Saquon already, he's going to do a lot on his own. He is that good of a running back. But then also, I want to say that on average, I think they average like almost 2.5 or 3 yards a carry before Saquon was even touched, which is insane, and that just speaks to the offensive line. So yeah, I'm pro offensive line. Offensive line is boring. I get it, um, but yeah, I mean you got to build in the trenches, and offensive line is going to raise the ceiling of your team, whereas like I feel like a running back is going to raise your floor. Um, but like if you have a great offensive line, you can put a lot of different guys back there, and they're going to have enough success for you to have a decent running game. You put a bad running back behind or you put a really good running back behind a bad offensive line. Then I mean, like we already saw that with Saquon on the Giants. I mean, like Saquon was still good. He was still, obviously making some great plays and stuff, but he was very limited in terms of like the value between paying him or drafting someone that high and actually what that's going to do for your team. Um, yeah, GT on the Niners would be super fun. I don't know that they take him with CMC, but I mean CMC's getting up there a little bit. He's had some injuries, so maybe. Um, But yeah, all right. I'm going to keep on going on these rankings. So up next, we were just talking about GT a bunch. So I'm going to talk about the running backs. Um, let's see. I got 8 running backs I did videos on, so I'll do a top 4 to start. Um, so my top 4 running backs: Ashton GT, Boise State; Omarion Hampton, North Carolina; and then Quinshon Judkins, is number 4 from Ohio State, and then Travion Henderson right behind Quinshawn as number 4. And I'll talk about this once we get there, but I struggle a little bit with Travion at 4. I like him, but yeah, we'll get there. I mean, Gene T, watching Gene T, my number one running back, the dude is just a walking highlight. Like, I remember some people saying like, oh, like, well, he didn't have as good stats, or he wouldn't have as good stats if he played on like a better team in a better conference and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I get that, but again, he doesn't pick his schedule. Like that's out of his control. I'm sure that he would have wanted to face the toughest defenses as possible, if that was up to him. And but then like they played Penn State and or sorry, Oregon. Um, Shoot, now I'm mixing up which one it was. But I mean, he had 3 touchdowns and 200 yards against one of those teams, and then in the playoffs, even against Penn State, which like Penn State's defense against, listen to me now, Boise State's offensive line, Boise State, like how good is GT going to be able to do behind that? Yeah, I mean, so he struggled some. He still just about, if not had, 100 yards. I don't remember if he had a touchdown or not, but he still averaged like 3.5 yards a carry, which isn't great. But also, like again, when you take into account Oregon's defensive line versus or Penn State's defensive line versus the Boise State offensive line, like that's clearly lopsided. And so for him to have even like a good game going against such a lopsided matchup like that, yeah, I mean it's just he is an amazing running back prospect. Um, I have Hampton at number 2. Again, it kind of gets into like what does your team need? Like I wouldn't love for the Chargers to draft Hampton at 22 because they've already got Najee, and neither Najee or Hampton are like a real like home run threat type guy. So like Hampton is kind of redundant in that sense. So it kind of depends on what kind of running back you're looking for. But if you're looking for a number one back, like just like pound the rock, we're going to be a run the football kind of team. Hampton is a great back. I mean, like he and that UNC offensive line was not good. Like go back and watch them. The only one that stands out was 5'10" or however tall, how tall he is, Willie Lampkin. And I went to the Senior Bowl this year down in Mobile, only a few hours away from me now. And I mean, like Willie Lampkin, love the guy, but I mean, golly, he is small. I mean, he's got some dog in him for sure, but he is a small guy. Yeah, that UNC offensive line was not doing Hampton any favors, and he still made a lot happen. And he runs hard too. He hurdled way too much. I did not like the hurdle, especially for a guy his size. I think maybe he had one successful hurdle. Um, but I mean, still, just like lowering the shoulder, running over guys. I don't think I saw him. I mean, I made like a 40-minute video of the guy. I don't remember a clip of him falling backwards. Like he is a hard nosed runner of the football. Yeah, big fan of him. I think that he'll translate day one. He might not be like a super high ceiling guy. He might not be like a home run threat, but also like home run threats on in the running game don't exist all that often in the NFL. Like either people are going to track you down, or just defenses are so good that it is really hard to rip a 75-yard rushing touchdown in the NFL these days. Um, yeah, so I mean, like in terms of home run speed, like I don't weigh that super heavily because like 99 times out of 100, it's not going to matter how many people they can outrun, over the course of 60, 50, 60, 75 yards. It's just usually not going to be a situation that your running back is in. But yeah, Hampton, I like definitely needs to improve in the receiving game. But yeah, he's still running back 2 for me. Judkins, I have at 3. Um, I like Judkins a lot. He's kind of one of those guys, kind of in the same bucket as like Abuka and Best for me. Like he seems like just like a high floor type running back. Um, like I just think that he'll translate very well, very easily to the NFL. I just don't see that being an issue for him. Um, Travion, though, his teammate, the thing that worries me about Travion's a very good running back. He wasn't as good as a receiver as I thought. Like I feel like a lot of people talk about him that way. Like kind of like he was running back, like he was Robin to Judkins Batman. Um, I was expecting like a totally different skill set from Henderson. And even Judkins had some home run ability, but like that's one of the big draws to Henderson is that he can hit those home run plays for you. Again, that's probably not going to be something that happens very often in the NFL. And the thing that worries me about him is injuries as well. He's got a little bit of a smaller frame, but I mean, he does have a little bit of an injury history when he was the lead back. And I think that's why they brought Judkins in before this last season. And so I think that he'll be, a really good running back, like as part of a committee or even just like the number two guy. But in terms of being like a number one, someone that gets like 25 carries every single game, I don't know that his body's gonna be a hold up for that. And so that's why he's kind of down at 4 for me. Um, all right, going on. So now I got 5, 6, 7, 8, and I consider moving my 5 up to my 4. And part of that is what I just talked about there. But my number 5 running back is Cam Scatterbu. Um, I really like Scatterbu. I don't know, like it's not sustainable, so he needs to change a little bit. But I think it's something very easy to change. Um, it's a long time since I've seen a running back like seek out contact the way that Cam Scatterby does. I mean, he like in the comments I talked about him. Like his comp for me is like a freaking mountain goat, like just like butting heads with everything that gets in his way. I mean, just the way that guy lowers his shoulder and runs into contact, I really liked. He had I would say above average, but not like great contact balance. But definitely above average. He's a guy that he'll have some other people bouncing off of him and things. Um, and from the 8 guys that I watched, um, which is super funny given his profile, because the other comp that I made for him is Peyton Hillis. The 1 year wonder out of Cleveland, and he was in Denver for a little while too, and a few other teams. But Peyton Hillis, I mean, like Scatterby reminds me of Peyton Hillis's Linsanity run that 1 year. Um, yeah, I mean, just he's an interesting prospect because he doesn't have home run speed like at all. I mean, like he ripped a couple, but he's like throwing people off of him 40 yards down the field, because he doesn't have that top end speed. Again, that's not a huge concern for me because I don't think you're going to be ripping off runs that big in the NFL in the first place. Like I think those opportunities come like a handful of times a season. Um, but Scadaboo, I mean, the thing that makes him really interesting for me is that um, for the guys that I've watched, he's the best pass catching running back out of the 8 that I watched. Which you wouldn't think, like looking at his build and like his profile and stuff, like he doesn't he doesn't scream like a receiving back to you. But he is really good out of the backfield. He is a natural catcher of the football. I can't remember what team it was against, but I mean he had someone um he had a catch like where he ran not even a wheel, but kind of like a seam, like out of the backfield, or he might have been out in the slot out of 5 wide, and like an over the shoulder type catch, like into the breadbasket type thing. And it's like, how many running backs you see doing that? And then how do you see like how many like 240-pound running backs or however much he weighs? He looks like he weighs 240. He's probably like 225 or 230, but it is a rock hard 230. Um, yeah, I mean, like, how many guys do you see do that? I don't think it's very much with that profile. So he's very interesting to me. Not at all who I would have expected to be the best receiving back out of this class. Um, yeah, but he's got a very interesting skill set. I think that he's the kind of guy that he'll come into the season, and if he is your RB1 heading into the season, I'm comfortable with that. Like I think that he can handle it. He did look like a few times like he got his bell rung and may or may not have had a concussion. Like there are a few times if you go back and watch where he comes out of a hit and you can see him like trying to like shake some sense back into himself or something. Which is a bit of a concern. I hope someone checked him out and things because I mean that has some pretty big long term ramifications. But um, yeah, I mean, like if he can learn to take care of himself and avoid unnecessary contact and not like always go in head first into contact, I think he's got a really good chance of being a pretty good back in the league. Someone very consistent. Um, Up next is Caleb Johnson. Um, Caleb from Iowa. He did have a good offensive line, and a lot of people use that as like a negative for him. Is that offensive line was really pretty good this year, and especially against some of the competition that they faced. But also, you got to remember too that like he probably played against the most outside of Ginty and maybe Hampton. He probably played against like the most loaded boxes this year because that Iowa passing offense for like 5 years at least has just been non-existent, and this year is no outlier with that. I mean, like they can't throw the ball, and they don't even really try to. So I mean, like he was just facing loaded boxes constantly. I remember him being like a decent receiver out of the backfield. But I mean, overall, like yes, he did have some pretty good holes open up for him and that kind of stuff, and that makes it easy sometimes. But I think that he made quite a bit for himself as well. So I think that he'll translate to the NFL just fine. Um, yeah, I see him as kind of like a low end running back one, high end running back two. Um, Next up, I've got Tennessee's Dylan Sampson. Um, he there's two things that come to my mind when I think about Dylan Sampson. Um, First one is the spin move. I mean, this guy, it seemed like he was hitting like 10 to 15 spin moves a game, and he's got a really good spin move. But also like he's got a bit of a smaller frame. Like there were some times where he was getting thrown around and things. But the big concern for me is that his I want to say his first career lost fumble was against Alabama this year when they played Alabama. And then I want to say he had 4 consecutive games with a fumble or a lost fumble after that. So I mean, like it seems like like that hasn't been like a long term concern for him. But for him to have like a streak of fumbles without like a uh, injury to go along with that, like Genty had like 3 or 4 fumbles this year. But like you can very clearly see like he's got this giant like that Gronk style, Ray Lewis style, those like brackets on his arm and stuff. Like he had an arm injury, and so I mean like that'll just make you prone to fumbling. As far as I'm aware, Samson didn't have any injuries, and he was fumbling quite a bit more than you would want him to. Yeah, and then 8, I have DJ Giddens from Kansas State. I don't think that Giddens is a bad running back. I think I said that he was Omarion Hampton light. A lot of people didn't like that. um, but I mean, like the reason I say that is that like he seems like a decent like power back. He is shiftier than Hampton, yes. But I mean, like this sounds like a bad thing, but it's really not. I mean, like he just looks like kind of like an average running back. Like if you just like think of like a running back and how they run, and they're just like an average back in the NFL, like that's what he looks like to me at Kansas State. Not necessarily a bad thing. I think that he is also someone that like again, like I wouldn't be biting my nails if he got like the first handoff for my team, in the fall. I don't have concern about that. I think that he'll translate well to the NFL. Running back transition to the NFL is one of the easier positions to do it at. So like I think that he is someone that can plug in and be a good running back in the league. I just don't think that he has the ceiling to be as good as pretty much everyone ahead of him on my list. Yeah, I mean, like I think that he'll be good. I think he can be a consistent running back in the NFL, but I definitely wouldn't want him to be like the guy getting like 25, 30 touches a game. Like I don't think that that would be a running game, behind like an average offensive line that would be very good or like something to fear, I guess. So yeah, I mean, no hate to DJ Giddens. He's a good player. But yeah, and I want to say it. I haven't watched his film since I watched it right after I posted it. I want to say that he did not look very comfortable in the passing game as well. So receiving, he's definitely got to figure that out some as well. Um, all right, all right. I'm gonna keep on going because we're at the 54-minute mark. I haven't seen Brashard Smith, Nick. I want to. I want to make a video on him, especially at. Oh shoot! I just turned my page. I'm not even ready to go yet. Um, I haven't watched him yet, so I don't want to say too much about him. Out of SMU, though, I know you're talking about Brashard Smith. I'm very interested to see where he goes. I think he is very likely one of those players where, like, if he goes somewhere fun, I think that we're gonna end up seeing like a lot of comments under videos like, "Please do Brashard Smith, please do Brashard Smith." And I'm not anti that. I just didn't get around to him this time. And those running back videos, man, I mean, do they take some time? Like Gene T's was like 48 minutes, and that was after there were 2 games I couldn't find. One of them was Portland State, um, that I just couldn't find any film on. He had a second one that I just outright couldn't find. I can't remember who it was. And then also like the playoffs for GNT, I had to go like upload his video like 4 or 5 times because YouTube was being very annoying about it. But yeah, those running back videos take a long time, so I was kind of glad to transition out of that, honestly. But yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to getting back into it after this, but I want to try to get like as many videos out as I can. And so yeah, that's kind of why I left on running backs a little bit early. But yeah, let's go ahead and DJ Giddens couldn't catch rain with a dumpster. I don't know about that. I remember seeing some pretty rough reps. I'm pretty sure it was him. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he was that bad necessarily. But okay, let me go to tight ends now. So tight ends, I watched 7. One of them though was Ben Urosic from Georgia, and I made his video. That video is a members only video. Um, Nothing exciting about Ben Urosic. I'm not going to talk about him. He's. I would be surprised if he was anywhere above round 7. Um, but all right, so the guys that I did make videos on, and then I'm going to talk about one more that I've kind of talked about in the comments recently, but I'll talk about him there at the end too. But since I have 7, I'll do or no, I have 6. So I'll do 1 through 3, and then 4 through 6. So my top 3, I've got Tyler Warren at 1, which seems kind of like consensus. I don't need to be different for the sake of being different. I watched the film. Tyler Warren is tight end 1 for me in this draft. Loveland is tight end 2, and then tight end 3 is Mason Taylor for me. Um, I'll get into who's behind him next because I am not a hater of number 4, but we'll get there. So Tyler Warren. I mean Tyler Warren, tight end 1 in this draft, Penn State. He, I mean, like for most games, if not all of them, like he was the offense. Like they, um, and I don't know if I could tell you a wide receiver on Penn State's offense right now. Like it was lacking. And then with Aller as well, I mean, there were some ugly balls as well. I mean, overall, Aller's he's a decent quarterback, but Warren, I mean, like he runs hard. He's not afraid of contact. He made some really good catches. His body control was really good. And they used him out of the Wildcat. That was fun. I mean, he did it well as well. Um, I definitely see him whatever team he goes to. Like if they are even just a little bit creative, then he'll be the type as well where they use him kind of like the Ravens use Mark Andrews on their QB sneaks or tush pushes or whatever. If whoever drafts Tyler Warren doesn't use him in that way, you're boring and dumb. I think. Yeah, like put him in those situations. He's already done it. He's good at it. Go ahead. But yeah, Tyler Warren, very clean prospect. I would say he's a top 10 player in this draft class from what I've seen so far. Um, yeah, I mean he is one of those plug and play guys. He's a guy that I would be surprised if 8 years from now, as long as injuries aren't a factor or anything, that I'd be very surprised if he's not still playing in the league. Like kind of how we talk about like Kittle and stuff. Really good wide receiver or tight end all around. Colson Loveland is second. Definitely, some injury concerns. But when he was on the field, I should have written this down, but I saw a stat earlier that at least for tight ends, it might have been for wide receivers as well. Like his target share in Michigan's offense. If you did not watch Colson Loveland's video, go watch it. And if you have time, go watch the Michigan games. That Michigan offense is disgusting in a bad way. Like it was gross to watch. Like oh, I was gonna like throw up in my mouth a few times. Like it was just ugly, I mean, like football from the 1950s looking kind of stuff. Like we just invented the forward pass. Gross. It was, yeah. If you like making yourself feel bad, go watch Michigan's offense. And like the only bright spot out of that was Loveland. Khalil Mullings, he had some good runs and stuff too, but like Loveland really was that offense. I think that he had the highest target share for a college offense in all of college football last year, in terms of receivers and tight ends. Really natural catch of the football. His blocking is fine, maybe like slightly above average, but like definitely not a concern. Like people bring that up as like, oh, like he's really not a blocker at all. I don't think that that's true. That's my opinion. We'll have some tight end blocking videos coming out here pretty shortly. But yeah, Colson, like again, and he's one too. Like I see some people as having him above Warren. I think that kind of depends on what you're looking for in a tight end. Like if you want just like a seam stretcher, vertical threat type tight end, then I would look at Loveland. But also Warren can do that too. And Warren was a better blocker. I mean, not like out of the world as a blocker or anything, but I mean he was a good blocker. Tight end 3, I've got LSU's Mason Taylor. Really good tight end. He was also another guy that like I can think of maybe like three drops from his whole season. I wish he got more targets. He was in a busy offensive skill room, so I mean that made it tough. But um, good, clean tight end prospect. I think his blocking was fine, maybe like a little below average. Um, but like he seems like again like just one of those guys that like will have a pretty clean transition to the NFL. I don't love doing comps, but like I couldn't help but to see like some Hunter Henry from his game, who is still in the NFL now after they drafted him. Chargers drafted him like 2017 maybe. Um, and yeah, I mean, he's. I think he's going to be a good tight end. He's not going to be like one of the top five tight ends in the NFL. I don't think. Like I think Loveland and Warren both have that potential. I think Mason Taylor is going to be one of those good enough tight ends. Like he will be good on your team. He'll be a plus tight end, but I don't think he's going to be like someone that's breaking games for you or anything like that. All right, and then up next, and this one I was kind of torn between 3 and 4, um, but Harold Fannin, really liked Harold Fannin coming out of Bowling Green. There are some people that have some pretty crazy takes on him, either saying like tight end one, which like I get the love, he was super productive. Um, I don't see the same strengths to the extent as like Warren and Loveland. But I mean, like his strength as a receiver, really good. He's a really good prospect. Again, concerns with the schedule. He can't choose the schedule against the guys who he played against. He was really good. I really liked watching this film. Really enjoyed that. Very natural catcher of the football. Just like kind of like his build and the way he moves, he reminded me a little bit of Antonio Gates. Like he's not like a super fast guy or anything, and the way he catches the ball and like kind of boxes out defenders, I kind of got those vibes. I'm not saying he's Antonio Gates. Don't make a meme out of me, please. Um, but and the other thing with him, I mean, they lined him up at like H, they lined him up out wide, they lined him up in line, and he was a much better blocker than I thought because a lot of people like were concerned about his size and his speed. But especially his size, like he's a little bit smaller. He's got like kind of a weird frame for a tight end. Um, but I would say he's a plus blocker. Like they used him as an H back quite a bit. And like even like I think he even lined up like at fullback at times. And he did fine. I mean, not like he's not like a road grader or anything, but for a tight end of that build and stuff, I was expecting his blocking to be much worse than it was. So yeah, very pleasantly surprised there. Um, Up next after Fannin, so tight end five for me, I have Gunnar Helm from Texas. Um, it's interesting. He had a very high volume of targets. Um, and he was very productive. Those are both good things. When I think of Gunnar Helm, like I cannot get the dumb penalties out of my head, and like not the same kind of dumb penalties like Luther Burden or like Elijah Arroyo, who we'll talk about next. Like with like a necessary roughness or unsportsmanlike conduct, not those kinds of penalties. Um, like I think he had like 6 false starts during the season or something like that. Like it was really frustrating getting to that point of the tape. Like big situations. I think he had like 2 or 3 against Georgia. Yeah, I mean like very frustrating. But he had a couple drops, but decent hands overall. He was an okay blocker. Like I think that he'll be like a tight end two in the league overall. Um, yeah, that's what I got to say about Gunnar Helm. And then tight end six, I got Elijah Arroyo from Miami. He is a good athlete. He does have the ability to stretch vertical. The thing I didn't like, and this isn't necessarily his fault, but like a lot of his targets were schemed up. And by a lot, I mean like the vast majority. Like I don't feel that I got to watch like a lot of routes where he was actually running routes like down the field and doing that kind of stuff. Um, like it was like a lot of scheme stuff like screens or those kinds of things. I didn't like how much I saw that on his tape. And then also the penalties on top of that. Like really it was just like, okay, this guy is not like I see some people having him as like tight end two or tight end three. Not over here, not for me. But I mean if that's what you like and that's what you're looking for, like his potential is there for sure. Like I would take a flyer on him, but yeah, I mean like not a guy that I am, you know, screaming trying to get even on like day 2. Like if the Chargers are going to draft him, like maybe round 3. I'd rather go like round 4. That's kind of Charger specific, but yeah. And then I said I wanted to talk about one other guy with the tight ends. That's Terrence Ferguson. I don't know if you guys watched Abdul Carter's video. Um, if you haven't, like I thought what I've heard about Terrence Ferguson, he's a very good receiving tight end, and then that's just about it. Kind of the same stuff that people say about Loveland to a lesser extent, though. That he's not really a good blocker or anything like that. And if you go watch Abdul Carter's video, there are like 5 times where Ferguson, um, like not only gets like a good block on him, but there are like 2 or 3 times in there where he just straight up puts Carter on his back, or just like really takes him good ways down the field or something. Like it was very impressive to me, and I have not heard about Terrence Ferguson's blocking from anyone. I haven't heard anyone talk about that. Um, so that was very interesting to me. Um, yeah, he's going to be one. I think that he's going to go higher than people think. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a second round pick. I haven't watched that much film on him yet. But with his production, with his skill set, and then also if he is consistently blocking like he was in that Penn State game, um, then I mean I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up being my tight end 3. Like if that's how things work consistently for him. All right, that's all the skill positions that I did for offense. I've gotten 5 corner videos done, and I've watched film on 8 edge rushers. Um, so I'll just kind of get through these kind of quick. Yeah, we're already over an hour. I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. Um, so corners, corner 1 is Travis Hunter. Um, you know, I've seen some people saying to play him at wide receiver instead of corner because of his frame. I think the opposite. I mean, maybe that's dumb, but like it's not super often that, like I said, like the NFL defends the run pretty well. That's kind of why we've gotten more to a passing league. So I don't see Hunter's like physicality being the thing that gets him injured in the NFL. Like I think running routes over the middle as a receiver is more where his frame kind of comes into question more than it does at corner. He, from what I remember seeing, a willing tackler, a good enough tackler. I mean, he definitely had some missed tackles, but in terms of coverage, really good, and instincts, really good. Ball skills, I don't think I've seen a corner with as good as ball skills as Travis Hunter. Period. Um, Yeah, I mean he is a really good corner. He is clear cut CB1 for me, no question. Um, yeah, he's one that you take and you feel really good about the pick for either position. But for me, especially as a corner, and I would say, and it's team dependent and everything, of course, but I would say corner more valuable than wide receiver. Um, all right, next up, I can't remember how to say anything. Jade Barron, from Texas. Uh, really liked his really liked Barron's tape. Definitely a willing tackler. Had really good ball skills. Played in the slot quite a bit. I mean, he's just a good corner. If you consider Travis Hunter to be a wide receiver, then I hope Barron is your CB1. He's a really, really good corner. Yeah, if he somehow were to fall to the Chargers at 22, if he was there, I'd be super happy with that pick at 22. I don't think that he gets that far though. But again, it's a weird draft class. Um, After that, I've got Trey Amos from Ole Miss. I really liked Trey Amos's film. I thought he was pretty physical. He had good recovery speed, decent ball skills as well. But yeah, I mean, like it's not super often you see corners that are like willing to be physical and willing to get in the run game. Amos has that. He's got the length, he's got the height, the speed, and everything. Um, yeah, I don't really have very many concerns at all for him transitioning to the NFL. And he played pretty tough competition in the SEC as well. So I mean, yeah, I think that for me, Amos is pretty clear CB3 from the guys that I've watched. The last 2 that I watched were Will Johnson and Ben Morrison. Um, if these 2 guys would have stayed healthy this last season, um, I mean, I think that we'd be talking about this corner class way more than we are. And then the shoot, the guy that went to Eastern Carolina as well, Revel or Revel. Um, if those guys would have stayed healthy, I mean, this corner class would have really shaped up to really be a strength, especially up at the top, and it still is. But like Johnson and Morrison, like those are a couple question marks, and like a lot of people still have Will Johnson as corner one in this class. Um, Based off of his 24 tape, I saw a player that was like a little too timid in the run game. So I didn't like that. Like he seemed to like avoid contact if he didn't have to get into it. Um, and I don't like that. But also at the same time, like he has someone that has kind of an extensive like injury history, so I also understand. Um, but still, like that's not how it's going to be in the NFL. So I mean, like you got to be able to hold up through contact and stuff. And then and a really good cover corner. I mean, like coverage wise, I don't have any concerns about Johnson. I thought he looked really good in coverage. But you have to be able to play against the run too, and you have to be able to do that and stay healthy. Um, and then last one, Notre Dame, Benjamin Morrison. Really liked Benjamin Morrison's film. He the reason that he's so low, like he would have been if he was healthy, he didn't have injury concerns. Based off his tape, like he probably would have been CB2 for me. Um, he was physical. There was I don't remember who it was against. Maybe I don't know if I watched him versus South Carolina, if that's what it was. But there was one game where I mean the running back just put him I mean, just blasted him into orbit. Like he just got absolutely ran over, and you hear the whole crowd go, "Oh!" Like he this guy took a big hit. But I mean, he's a physical corner. He's a bigger corner. Cover skills really good. Um, yeah, if he didn't have such a significant injury, like I believe that he ended up having to have hip surgery, and so I mean, like that tough to come back from, especially as a corner. So kind of depending on where on how his medicals check out, I think is going to influence where he gets drafted. But I mean, like if he was healthy, along with Johnson, like I think that Johnson, Morrison, Hunter Barron are all, and I would say Amos. I would say those are all round one guys. Yeah, so I mean, like those guys, those last two weren't healthy, so that makes it a little bit tougher. But really like this corner class. And then edge. So I have gotten 3 videos out to you guys, but I have watched 8 of the edge players, um, and those are Abdul Carter, Mike Green, and then Donovan Ezeraku. You guys saw Donovan Ezeraku, or his video posted at the same time as the live. Um, and the other guys that I've watched are James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee, Michael Williams from Georgia, Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M, and Nick Scorton from Texas A&M, and then also Jalen Walker from Georgia. I don't think I said him. So I've already watched their tape, and I'm working on getting James Pierce's video out to you guys, Michael Williams, Shamar Stewart, Nick Scorton, and Jalen Walker. Yeah, so I've only gotten 3 out to you guys, but I've watched 8 of these guys. So my number one, Abdul Carter. He is more raw than I expected him to be. I mean, like the Chargers aren't in that pick range, so like I haven't been paying attention to much of the media behind him and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, like he's got a really good first step. He's very athletic. Apparently, this is his first year as an edge rusher. So I mean, like all of that definitely makes him very interesting. Um, but against the run, I mean, I didn't love what I saw. Like I think he's still learning to like kind of responsibilities. I can't speak to that. That's more stuff that coaches are gonna have to figure out and things that people that know more about football than me are gonna be talking about and kind of figuring out putting into his evaluation. Um, but I mean, athletic profile and everything there, very good. His production was still good. But yeah, against the run was a concern for me and will be a concern at least starting out in the NFL. As a pass rusher, pretty good though. And yeah, but yeah, again, like go watch that Oregon game. I did not like how he fared against Terrence Ferguson. Terrence Ferguson and some of the other guys on Oregon, like their tackles and stuff, really got into Carter. Um, my edge two is Mike Green from Marshall. This is just talking about the on the field stuff. I don't know that much about his off the field situation. I think James Pierce Jr. was the other guy that had question marks off the field. I don't know that much about their situations, but what I'm talking about is the film and what I saw on there. Mike Green, he is one of those guys that you hear people talk about, like a player playing with their hair on fire. That is Mike Green. I mean, like his effort on every single play, unless he is gassed from putting out so much effort, it really jumps off. So I really liked that. He won in a variety of ways when he was rushing the passer. I like that as well. I don't like guys that just have like kind of like one move and stuff. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think that Mike Green will do well. He did have a sack or two against Ohio State. I thought that he looked fine against Ohio State. Like I didn't feel like they like erased him, or that he was like just totally a non-factor. So I don't have that much concern about who he played or who he was matching up against, and him only getting stats against like a lot smaller teams. Yeah, I like him, but I don't love him. Like there's a significant gap between Carter and Green for me. Like Green, um, I'd be much more comfortable taking in like the mid first to like late first. Same with a lot of the guys I'm going to talk about, but like Carter, still a pretty clean prospect. You're betting on the upside with Carter for sure, so you got to be able to coach him up. But yeah, Mike Green, I still liked. Okay, my third edge rusher is James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee. Also kind of a tough eval. I mean, just and this is true for Georgia as well. So I'll talk about this there as well. But Tennessee, like they rotated their defensive line out a lot. And so I mean, like he was playing pretty fresh a lot of time, whereas like compared to like Donovan Ezraku, I don't remember seeing very many plays at all where he was not out on the field. Whereas like James Pierce Jr. and the two guys from Georgia, like they were constantly rotating off and things. Um, and same with the guys from Texas A&M. Like those teams just had a lot of depth and could do that. Same thing with James Pierce. So I worry a little bit about like if he's going to be more of like a rotational guy to start out than someone that's like, okay, this is our number one edge rusher is this rookie from Tennessee. I worry about that, but I mean his athletic profile was good. His effort was good. I didn't see very many issues with that. I liked his tape overall. I, I'm not as comfortable like rating edge players as I am with like wide receiver or running backs, but if I had to give my top three today, which I am, is Abdul Carter, Mike Green, James Pierce. Um, Next after that is Michael Williams from Georgia. Um, which is interesting. He definitely is a raw player, but in the games that I watched Texas, then Florida, then Texas again. He is a guy that at times has pretty significant flashes. Sometimes he did get driven back in the run game quite a bit. Sometimes he did get stalled quite a bit too. Like I said, I am new to watching edge players for the most part. The last few years, the Chargers have had Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa and Tuli Tuipulotu, so it hasn't been like a as I've gotten deeper into the draft, edge hasn't really been a big concern, so I haven't put like that much time into it. So I'm kind of new evaluating the position. And I thought I was going to like Michael Williams a lot less. I still don't like him a ton. Like I see people talking about him going in like the top 10. No, not for me. I don't feel that strongly about him. You would definitely be betting on his upside at that point. Um, Georgia rotated their edge guys quite a bit, and yeah, I mean, and there were still plenty of opportunities where he got stood up. Like he's still definitely figuring out like his pass rush plan and really perfecting all those pass rush moves. Um, so yeah, Michael Williams at four. After that, five, an even more raw prospect, or at least not especially productive. Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. But I mean, he is raw for sure. But his like you see, I don't know if you guys follow RAS like Relative Athletic Score on Twitter or anywhere else, but his athletic score was 10 out of 10. Like he had the best like edge athletic score ranking out of however many prospects, like thousands of edge prospects the last however many years. So I mean, athletic freak. Like I mean, you see people use that term. Shamar Stewart is definitely that guy. Now, even though he's raw, I mean, his athleticism, you can see it on tape. So it's not just like you're drafting a 40-yard dash and a guy that's tall and a guy that could bench press a lot. Like his athleticism jumps out on the tape. So I mean, he is raw, but I liked him a lot. More than I thought I would. I thought I was gonna watch him and be like, this guy had 2 sacks last year, I think. Like I really like guys that produced in college, unless there's an obvious reason that they didn't. like receivers with bad quarterbacks, that kind of stuff. But he did not produce that much. But he is a guy that I'd be willing to bet on traits. I would take him though in like the late first, early second round though. That's where I'd be comfortable with Shamar Stewart. But with how good his athletic profile is, I could see why you take him earlier than that. Next up after that is Donovan Ezraku, um, which I thought I would be higher on. But I mean, frankly, like and I even threw in his game against Pitt where he had like 4 sacks or something, and um, I don't know. I mean, like just watching his tape, I watched Mizzou, I watched Virginia Tech, and I watched Pitt. And so Mizzou, he didn't go up against Membu all that much. Their tackle that's rated like a top 10 player. Um, but just all throughout his film, I really thought that he would stand out more, and he just didn't. Like he seems to play well against the run. He's got like a couple of pass rush moves, but um, I don't know. Like his frame seems limited. I haven't looked at his arm length or any of that stuff. Like I told you guys, I'm not like a huge subscriber to that. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was someone that had like kind of shorter arms. Because yeah, I mean, like he seemed to struggle to like I guess like convert speed to power quite a bit. Like yeah, I don't know. I was expecting him to jump off the tape way more than he did. Maybe I watched the wrong games, but like I choose the ones that I choose for a reason, either based on NFL competition or because they were a good or bad game. I try to check each of those 3 boxes out. And then the 7th one, Nick Scorton from Texas A&M. He's interesting because there's some time when he hustles, you're like, how is a guy that big moving that fast? He has a very interesting frame. It seems like he's like kind of top heavy. No shade to Scorton, but seemed like he was a high effort player. Doesn't seem to rely on athleticism like as much as other guys did. I have no clue how he tested, but I mean, he seemed like a fine edge rusher. Like I would say he's like a low to mid, like edge two. I definitely wouldn't want him as being like my number one edge rusher on my team. Um, yeah, I just don't think that he has those kind of chops to get to the quarterback all that often. And you guys probably noticed I haven't talked about Jalen Walker yet. It is not that I have Jalen Walker rated as edge 8. Um, I don't know. I wouldn't even really consider him an edge as much as just like a I would say he is an off-ball linebacker that is especially talented at rushing the passer. But I don't think he's an edge rusher. I wouldn't draft him to be an edge rusher. I mean, he had a good amount of sacks this season. I want to say he had like 6 or 7. If you go and watch those though, because I watched the Texas game from October, where I think he had 3 sacks in that game on Ewers, and I don't remember if Manning played in that game at all. Um, but I watched that game, and like a lot of his sacks are more like effort, like cleanup sacks. Like the quarterback like starts to run out of the pocket, and then Jalen Walker's there to clean him up, and they used him like that a lot as well. Like he was a very frequently used and like productive good QB spy. Um, and so like I always think of that when I'm thinking about the Chargers because I'm like, God, I hate when Mahomes is just like running around forever. Back there and like uh I don't know if Jalen Walker would be effective against that, but if I had to pick someone out of the draft class, to have that kind of profile, it would be Jalen Walker. So I mean, he's definitely someone that jumps off the tape. I would have him more as an off-ball linebacker, so I don't have him ranked in the edge rushers there. But always great to have as many people that can get after the passer as possible. And he can do that, but I would not consider him an edge rusher. I would not draft him to be an edge rusher. Um, yeah, and then I haven't watched quarterbacks yet. I've watched very little offensive line outside of like making the videos. I haven't watched defensive tackles yet. That's up next once I get these edge videos out. I haven't watched safeties or linebackers, except for Jalen Walker, who I would say everybody else is gonna have a pretty hard time beating him out of that linebacker one spot. Um, but yeah, I mean, like if you guys got any questions or hot takes or anything, those are my rankings. Any reactions to the rankings, let me know. Um, I'll stick on for however long people got anything to say. No one has anything to say, then hey, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm going live tomorrow. Um, the draft starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, so I'll probably get on like 7:30 Eastern and go live, and we'll kind of see how many people are here. But yeah, I love the draft. It's a lot of fun for me. I'll probably have some drinks. So if you guys want to come hang out, watch the draft, definitely come swing by. If anybody's got anything, I'll look through the comments here in a section in a second. If anybody's got anything else, then yeah, type it in there. Let's get at it. Morrison stays get underrated. Yeah, he is underrated. If it weren't for that hip injury, I'd be much higher on Morrison. Like at least in like the conversation for CB1. Yeah, I mean Morrison, like his tape was very impressive to me. He doesn't shy away from the run game or anything. Doesn't shy away from contact. He's a good corner. I just after a hip surgery, I worry about how much of that is going to be able to translate to the NFL, like how hard of a time he has with that. But if his medical's clear, yeah, take him in the first. Yeah, no problem with that. Um, thanks for getting all the cut ups. Definitely, yeah, I'm glad you guys like them. I would say like because I spent so much time focusing on the videos, like I'm less knowledgeable about the draft overall, um, like than I am usually. Um, uh, Yeah, like usually, like I'm a lot more widespread and kind of looked into some players, like a lot more players to a lesser extent. This year, like the players that I've watched, I feel very confident on how I feel about them. But I feel like I've watched less players just with making the videos and everything. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I'm glad you guys enjoy it. Um, yeah, salute for all the tape. Absolutely. Yeah, appreciate you guys. And yeah, super glad you like it. This is how I expected an MF who cuts every snap of college film with draft prospects to look like. Yeah, this is exactly what I look like. I got my Bobby Boucher jersey on tonight. Um, yeah, this is exactly what I look like, and yeah, I think that if you guys had to like draw a sketch of me to like the police without having met me or anything, I think it'd probably be pretty similar to how you see me now. So yeah, no surprises there. Um, Yeah, Fannon's got hands. Yes, he's got really good hands. I'm a fan of his. Arroyo's a wide receiver. I don't know about going that far, but yeah, I mean like he's an interesting prospect for sure. I really wish he didn't have the attitude issues that he did. Giancarlo, thank you. Hey, yeah, appreciate you, man. Yeah, I'm glad you like the videos. I'll definitely keep doing it next year. I plan to have. I don't think I said this at the top. I meant to. Next year, I plan to have every single player that is planning that at least has a chance of going in round one, um, and um, I want to get as many guys from day two as possible. So I really want to try to have all the day one guys, all the day two, all the round two, all the round three, and then of course some spillover into the other rounds. But I definitely I'm gonna try to get. I think I got like 35 videos out this year. 39, okay, and a handful more coming in the next couple of days. So yeah, I'm hoping to at least like double the amount of videos out for next year. Um, oh yeah, the process of making the videos, it's brutal. I'll give you a little sneak peek right here. Um, so essentially, what I do, for the receivers were actually the easiest ones. I thought they were a pain in the ass because they were the first ones that I did, and then I started doing the other ones. The other ones are a pain in the ass. Let me tell you, especially defense, because offense, like I can go and look at like let's say for Matthew Golden, for example, my process was okay. Let me go write down his height, weight. Let me go write down his stats. Make that for a little intro screen, whatever. Um, but for actually making the film, what I did was I went to the websites that I use for film, which shout out. First of all, YouTube has a lot of the film that you'll find. If it's not on YouTube, the only other resource I have for you right now is NFL-video.com. Um, those are um, those are the two sources that I use for film. That's pretty much the only two places that I have for finding film. But NFL-video.com. I use a lot of ads, a lot of stuff like pop-ups and those kinds of things. So it's a little annoying to navigate that. Um, but then what I do, so like Matthew Golden, I'll go watch the plays, or I'll go look up his stats. I'll look at the games that he played in, and then at that point, for every single game that he played in, I go to the box score and I go to the play-by-play on their website. So I'll Google like 2024 Texas football schedule, and then each game that he played in, I go into that game. I go into the box score. I go to the play-by-play. I control F, and then it'll say um, Not all of them are time stamped, which is super annoying. But it'll say like, okay, Q1, then it'll say, okay, 1st and 10 at whatever yard line, whatever, and it'll give you the time. So like Q1, 13 minutes, 29 seconds, and it'll say Ewers targeted Matthew Golden or pass to Matthew Golden complete for however many yards. And every single time that Golden's name show up, I write down the timestamp for that, and then I go watch the games, and then I record, those plays. So I do it like game by game. Very long, tedious process. I've looked into a couple of different ways to like kind of shorten that. I think my options are limited. Um, and so yeah, I mean, like unless I can figure out if I find a way to do it faster, I will do it faster. Believe you me. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what I'm stuck with right now. But yeah, so these are all of the plays where because I'm watching Michael Williams and Jalen Walker, or I already watched them. So, like for Texas, I already did Texas, but for Florida, so like you can see, all right, quarter one of them had a play on 11:01:6, and I have it by each player before this. Um, so I just put them into one video, so I only have to record the video once, and I'll go cut out Michael's plays and then Jalen's plays. Well, like so 11:01. So Q1 11:01, and the play clock is at 6. That way I don't end up recording the screen for 20 seconds for a play that's 4 seconds long because you don't know when they're going to hike it. Yeah, and then so I do that for every single play, and yeah, sometimes with buffering times and stuff, brutal. And honestly, like um, I might not put the circles like the red circles on, but it's tough to find the player on defense if I don't have them on. But um, I might not put them on for these last videos because that process takes a long time as well. Like once I already have the plays, then going and recording those plays really doesn't take that much time. But then going back and editing those circles on them, yeah, it takes a long time. Um, all right. Today, planning to do pro vids too. Thanks for the content, bro. I'd rather watch tape all day over highlights. Gives a better indication of the player's effort and intelligence. Yeah, I totally agree. Watching highlights, like that's what I used to do, and then I would go watch like one game, but it takes like 3 hours, and I hadn't had the system worked out or anything, so it's like did not have the time to go watch every single game for players and that kind of stuff. And so that's like how I came up with the idea. Um, and yeah, here we are. But yeah, highlights don't do it justice. Like if you're only watching, players really good plays. If we just went off of highlights, Luther Burden, wide receiver one, like the guy, he's got the talent. But yeah, no, it's just not the case. I wish highlights did more for us, but yeah, I mean, highlights have their place. It's fun to watch highlight videos. But yeah, I mean, just doesn't tell the full story, which is definitely important when you're talking about drafting players. Um, all 22 is so tough to get a hold of. Yeah, um, it has been tough. Big shout out to Mile High Scout. I should have shouted him out earlier, but he's working on some videos now too and stuff, and we're kind of partnering on some of this stuff, and he's showed me he's given me some access to some all 22. So yeah, big shout out to him and to content that's coming. Um, but yeah, definitely planning to do pro vids. I need ideas for content, honestly. If you guys have any ideas for content for pro videos, like right now I'm thinking, okay, either I'll just start making videos for the college guys during the college season. I'll probably do that either way, just to save me time in the spring. Um, but I might also do like a keeping up with the rookies type videos where like just going and kind of tracking, all right, which rookies are doing really well, and maybe putting some tape in there with that kind of stuff, and that way we can like kind of track the players that we watched during the spring and kind of came up with our opinions on, and see how they're doing in the pros, and it'll only make the draft process get better and better. Um, so yeah. Someone who doesn't watch college at all, your videos are godsend, man. Yeah, I this is the first season I really started watching college football. Every year before this has just been I just watched college football when I was prepping for the draft. Like I just really wasn't that into it. Now that I said at the beginning of the stream, I live in Tuscaloosa, so I'm in a football town here with the University of Alabama. So yeah, it's like you can't escape college football down here, which I love. Like I'm a huge football guy, so um, yeah, yeah, no, I'm glad that they're helpful to you. Yeah, this has been my first year getting into college football. Really like it. Yeah, it's definitely a different product than the NFL. But I like it still for the purpose of the draft. Like I want to know who's coming up and what they look like and stuff. So yeah. But yeah, it looks like it's winding down here, guys. So we're right here at that 135 mark. I've got a little bit of OCD, so I'm gonna go ahead and check out of here in 3, 2, 1. Hey, we'll see you guys. Take care.